of hearing both sides and engaging in free speech and dialogue on campus and how important that is. Do you agree?
I think it's a difficult question. I'm interested in what you have to say. The conversation was to find out what you are talking about. That's why you're here, right? You want to... Yeah, so talk about it. I don't have to answer your question.
This is Fleckus Talks, the podcast, audio only. All right, welcome back to Fleckus Talks, the podcast, episode 103. No, you have not missed 102 episodes. We decided to label these episodes like college courses, so you've only missed two others, 101 and 102. Now we're on episode 103. Today we're going to be talking about some vax mandate stuff, a new video we just shot, and we may be breaking some news here. Can dogs talk? We have a absolutely bonkers delusional lady who thinks she's talking to dogs. Let's see what the truth is. And honestly, this is a big episode for us. This is kind of a make or break episode. Either this is actually a funny show that people enjoy listening to, that they can kind of squeeze in between the Michael Knowles show and Tim Dillon podcast, or me and Richard Rapway aren't that funny. We already used our bits, and this thing will just fizzle out and we suck.
So let us know.
So we'll see. Let us know with the 5-star review. All right, let's get right into it. Richard Rapway and I just shot a new video released a couple days ago. We went to the Women's March here in St. Pete. Richard Rapway, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was definitely different from the other ones that I've filmed on your behalf. Like smaller town, not LA, not Chicago. Those are the only other places I filmed for you. So smaller town, we kind of stumbled upon it. And
we totally stumbled upon it. I didn't even know there was a Women's March. And then we went to the dog park and we saw them setting up a stage. And I was like, what's this stage fake thing, astroturfing, not organic, not grassroots events coming?
Totally corporate.
Yeah. Like what's about to be here with this giant LED screen? And the guy's like, oh, it's a protest. And I was like, for what? And he's like, ladies or something.
Yeah, he goes, women.
So I was like, are we protesting ladies here? I'll be there. But it was the Women's March, which I thought came in January or February. I guess they're making up for maybe one that got canceled because of COVID or something.
Yeah. Maybe it's a Texas abortion law
100%
impromptu.
Yeah. So it was an abortion rally. We had a good time. Highlights from the episode, I'd say, were the pastor who said it was his job to listen while everyone's telling him we want to kill the babies and the unborn and get abortions. So it's like maybe your job is to listen until you hear those ideas. And then you got to say, oh, wait, I'm a pastor and I fundamentally disagree with this. But we never got that out of him. Yeah. We asked him the right questions, though, that kind of left him stumped in his own views, like his world of faith and whatever he personally believes kind of clashed. And he was like, I don't know when it counts as a baby, when life starts. And mass kids at the abortion rally. Dark.
I would never want to say something on what a woman should be able to do with her body, me as a man, because again, ultimately it's up to the woman's decision to decide what she does, and it's her life. So as long as she's happy with her choice that she makes and she can live with it, then that's great, and go ahead and move on.
But as a man, do you feel an obligation to protect the lives of the unborn, the most innocent?
No.
I mean, our principles of Unitarian Universalism are to honor all life and also to know that we are all interconnected. So that when a woman is making that difficult decision, even to terminate a pregnancy, I am connected to her, and so I need to support her, not tell her what to do.
Do you agree that an abortion does end the life of an independent living being?
Again, I'm not sure the science is clear about that. I think that the majority of abortions are first trimester, and I'm focusing on the women, not so much on the uterus.
When do you think it is a life?
I don't know. It's a good question.
6 to 8 weeks, I believe, is heartbeat.
I don't know.
Am I too sweaty? I thought so. I understand the view about freedom and the ability to get an abortion, but do you agree that abortion's the act itself is a bad thing?
Such a good question. I think an abortion in by itself is a difficult thing. It's a difficult thing for the woman, for her family, and I think we should support them, not tell them what to do.
What about half of the women that are aborted, the unborn babies? Half of them, ballpark, are women or young
women or girls.
What about those women?
I think that's all I'm going to say. But okay, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck today.
Keep it rolling. I've seen a lot of people talking about overreaching Christian beliefs in the Catholic Church, especially, but I don't see anyone talking about Islam at all. You think that it's a mistake to not mention Islam at a march like this?
Absolutely. Where are you from?
Hello?
Where are you from?
I'm from New York.
I know, what organization?
Oh, my own organization. I have a YouTube channel.
Shirt, if you want to keep talking, go ahead.
Look at my shirt, he said. There's nothing more powerful than being able to kill people, and that's what Hillary Clinton does, so...
Yeah,
really.
it's like the details actually matter, man. Like
you can't ignore that stuff.
Yeah, because they always do it. They always boil it down to one side or the other, and it's like, but there's some nuance here too, Reverend, Pastor, whatever the hell you were.
Can you imagine going to that guy's church? Like wasting your time. You wake up, you put an outfit on, and you go to the church, and then that guy speaks to you for an hour and 20 minutes?
About like kindness or something that like...
About love is love and tolerating trans kids, and everyone definitely probably wears a mask.
In this house, we believe the science. We do
Science.
XYZ. Yeah.
It's like believe the science, and you're the pastor, and the science you're believing isn't actually believing. So it's just like a complete mess of a person.
Yeah, that was a good one. We caught him.
We caught him, but he wasn't the only one we caught. There is actually debatably someone we caught even worse, and it was that woman who has a boyfriend.
Yep.
And basically what she said, we had like a full conversation with her. And keep in mind, I'm very polite. I'm very nice. People always try to come over and be like, hey, don't talk to him. Like he's trying to like mix your words up and make you say something you're not. And it's like every single time I'm always like, well, what did I ask you? Like, what are you doing here? What does your sign say? You know, what are you mad about? What are you protesting? So this lady, we were very polite to, and we're talking about the wage gap. And I was kind of like, doesn't that not exist? Isn't that debunked?
Yeah.
And she was like, no, I have the same exact job as my boyfriend. We work for the same exact company, the same exact role, and he gets paid more than me. And it's like, usually, I guess, when it comes to this group mentality, the mob think people can just leave it at that. Like, oh, that's like a firsthand experience and like must be a sensitive topic. Whoa, she deals with the wage gap. But I just kept it 100.
You got to dig.
And I started digging a little bit. So I'm like, oh, he gets paid more than you? And it's like, what's that about? And it's like, well, yeah, it's like we have the same exact thing, same qualifications. There's no explanation. It's a few $1,000s a year. And it's like, we're not going to just leave it at that. Who is it? Who's doing it? Why are they doing it? Is it because you're a lady? And then we eventually listen for yourself. Do you think that it has anything to do with the jobs that women pick, that women tend to pick compared to men, or the majors they have in college that they tend to pick, or hours worked, anything like that?
Not at all. I work the exact same job and the exact same hours as my boyfriend, and he makes more than me.
Really? What job is that?
I work in compliance for a financial institution.
She made it very clear she has a boyfriend. That's like one of the first. My boyfriend gets paid. Oh, don't worry, I'm not hitting on you. And you get paid significantly less than him?
It's a couple $1,000 a year, but I mean, it's different because it's not like I work less hours than him. It's not like I work at a different company.
So what is the reason? Did you ever call them out? Do you want to?
No, I haven't. I'm not a confrontational person in that way. I plan on asking for a raise, yes, but it's not something that I'm going to go up to the company and be like, y'all are up.
Well, if they're paying him and he's a man, and is it because he's a man?
I don't know if that's the case. It could be his performance is better than mine. You know, a lot of times they say it's based off of performance evaluations.
Okay.
But you don't know, because it could be based off of a performance evaluation, but you don't know for a fact whether or not that's the actual case.
Do you think there's a chance it's because you're a lady?
It's possible.
We eventually pried out of her that it's probably performance-based and it's only a few $1,000s and we can't really explain what it is. So basically, it's like that's like the theme of all these marches, all these events. It's like these feel-good phrases that you think make sense, and they do to like the average viewer, the casual scroller, the person walking by. But when you actually like pry apart and look for the details, there's no foundation. There's no truth in what they're saying. They're just creating victim statuses for themselves and perpetuating it. Yeah. I feel like we got her pretty good. We exposed her pretty good. We didn't really even do that much. It wasn't like an edit. It wasn't like, out of context sentences. She just kind of had a realization on our camera, unfortunately for her. And unfortunately for me, now I go into town, a small town, St. Petersburg, Florida, and I'll probably see that lady around and she'll probably be mad at me. She's the type that throws a drink.
Yep.
100%.
Get ready to get glassed.
And then I'm going to have to, not sometimes I beat up her boyfriend, but
Well, if he's there,
If she throws a drink on me, I'm allowed to hit him.
yeah,
Actually, legally, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, that's not true. There's no transitive property of knocking out someone's significant other.
So legally, I'd have to attack her back, which I don't think I'm ready to do. But hey, if we get a drink thrown on us, I'm immediately spitting on her boyfriend and then beating him into a fight.
Maybe. It's your dealer's choice,
She
dude.
throws a drink on me. I go to the boyfriend and say, "You punch me."
It depends.
Throw a punch.
It depends. If it's just the liquid from the drink and the drink never leaves her hand, I don't know. I think you leave it at that. You go, yeah, I like this. You know, you're like, I got you.
Yeah,
but
I'm a martyr.
If glass hits your forehead and
If she chucks a cup,
yeah,
I spit at the boyfriend.
yeah, okay, yeah,
That's the deal. And it's not illegal because we talked about it.
yep.
Or actually, maybe more.
That's worse.
It's more illegal.
Yeah, that's like he had intent. It was pre-planned, and it was,
And publicized. I'm inciting my own riot. Oh, man. So a lot of people ask, they always DM asking kind of like how the sausage is made here at Fleckus Talks.
Yep.
And I figured I'd have Rapboy kind of explain the process. Like we go to an event. People always wonder like what it's like. Do I go interview 50 people and we use the 5 craziest? Do I only pick crazy people to interview? And I'm here to tell you today, it is not that serious. It's not that complicated.
Yeah. And so from my perspective, it's always like we get there, we get to the event. It's like, all right, eyeball test. Like how many people are here? Are we going to be able to get a video? If it's too small, it's like they're going to find me out pretty quick. They're going to turn on me pretty quickly. And that's what happened, obviously, in LA. It's a visual pat down. You're kind of like looking at the scene. You're
Violently uncomfortable, looking around, like
Yeah.
what's about to happen.
So
But there is a switch that's flipped.
100%. And it's a matter of ramping up that switch. And the way I see it, it's like I'm standing there with a camera. I'm getting B-roll of like signs, different people, like kids in masks, stupid stuff. And then I'm like, come on, Fleckus, come on. What are we doing? Who we got? That guy looks
I'm
good.
always like, hold on. Like, wait till you see the whites of their eyes. Like, hold.
Yeah.
And then once so basically I'm just like uncomfortable absorbing the situation.
Because it's awkward.
It is awkward.
You're in there. You're about to not ambush, but you're going to ask him some not easy questions.
It's an Italian job.
Mm-hmm. And so there is sort of a character that needs to come out, and it's like, that's Fleckus. There's Austin and there's Fleckus, and you do need to flip that switch at some point, and it's kind of like an icebreaker when you get the first interview. And then, so you got to, first off, people have to say yes to an interview. Nobody just comes up.
Yeah. Back in like the day, it used to be, hey, can I get a shot of your sign? Sure. You hold the camera there, get a shot of their sign, and then you say, and what does your sign say? And they'll be like, Trump wants to put us in camps. And you go, okay, cool. Like, what does that mean? And now they're in an interview without even realizing it.
You trap them.
Like, that's how I used to do it. Now I'm a little more professional about it. And now it's like, I'm very polite. Hey, any interest in an interview? 2 minutes. And they're like, eh. And I'm like, oh, totally cool if you don't want to. And they're like, no, thanks. I'm like, okay, bye. But a lot of people, I'd say 4 out of 6 people are like, yeah, I'll do an interview.
Mm-hmm.
They're down. They know there's a camera there. And then it's just boom. And then, yeah, like we said before, people try to follow me around and say, don't talk to him. And then I go, I'm not against you. What did I even ask? I asked what you're doing here and what it's, like there's no agenda. It's absolute sociopathy. It's a whole switch I have to flip and I just become a different guy. And then for like an hour, I'm just interview. And we get them and then we leave. And then after I'm like, I'm juiced. I feel good after.
You need to decompress afterwards. It's like, and then so this time there was one guy who was in this video who, to his credit, was actually pretty normal and was just kind of, he's kind of on the left, looked like a free spirit type guy. But he's like, so what's your channel? Like, what's your thing? And then Fleckus goes, oh, Fleckus, Fleckas. And it's like, he's typing it into YouTube. And we're like, all right, we got to go. And
we're just like 2 lefts or right into the crowd. And then we're gone.
And we hear him playing the faint sounds of like Fleckus roasting the Met Gala in the background or something.
He typed it into YouTube, and the first videos that came up were me like, is pride good for kids?
Ugh.
And I was like, oh, he's got me.
We got to go.
He's got me. But I kept 100. I'm very polite.
So
and it's like, if it's not my fault if you give an interview and the answers you give are so delusional that it's comedic. Yep. And then I edit it up. And I'm a good editor. I know how to tell a story. So I do edit it in a way that, it's entertaining. But that's not really my problem.
Yeah.
We're not mixed matching words. We're not cutting people off and taking things out of context. It's just like your worldview is so upside down. I don't have to really do anything. All I have to do is show it, and half the country is like, ooh, that's bananas.
That's dark. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a funny process to watch. If you know Fleckus personally, it's like he has to go into the second zone. He has to go into like the afterburner zone, and then we get the job done in an hour and we're gone. All of a sudden there's dust and gravel's kicking up and we got the SD card.
Yep. And we call the last guy a muppet on the way out, and then they're like, wasn't there a guy here? And they look around and it's like, nope, he's gone. What guy? I'm already on the bus out of here. I walked out the front door. I was dead the whole time. It's Act 3.
But St. Pete compared to like LA or any major metro area, it's like, how much can we milk out of this before you become a wanted man? It's something to
I already had people from videos run into me in town from the one we did about what's your message to Trump in the hospital.
Because he had COVID.
Yeah. So it's like, it wasn't even like, same thing. It's like, it's not my fault you on camera were like, F him, I hope he dies. Like
Trump.
I did publish it. But so yeah, that one alone gave us some run-ins in town. This one's going to be very interesting. I feel like I'm a wanted man. I don't leave the house as it is. Now you'll never catch me out. And then also what happened after? We tried to release the video.
Oh, yeah.
We're releasing a Women's March video tomorrow around midday. Same time. What happens? Facebook and Instagram both go down for like a whole day.
Zuck pulled the plug on you.
Zuck pulled the plug. He knew we had the content. He knew we had it in the bucket. He knew it wasn't going to be good for the Women's March pro-abortion group. So he had to yank the whole thing, pull the kill switch.
Yep. He cut the transatlantic cord.
Yep. That Facebook whistleblower is like the biggest psyop of all time.
Yeah.
She's the next, what's his name? Remember
Christine Blasey Ford?
She's the next Christine Blasey Ford.
She's just a piece. It's like a chess piece in the broader game. And it's like, you ready to do this?
And she's like, yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I was born ready to shill for more censorship. And
she's like a whistleblower, quote unquote. But it's like she's whistleblowing to expose them for not doing enough censorship. So it's like a reverse whistleblower.
Yeah.
It's like a Fed inside guy. It's
it's a whistle tightener. They want to tighten down and they want to blow the whistle that this dissident needs to be clamped down on.
They're talking about misinformation. It cost people their lives.
I lost a friend to
misinformation. It's like, what about the Hunter Biden thing?
Yeah.
When that got tampered down and wasn't allowed to be released because the election was in a couple days. What about the border police whipping immigrants?
Yeah, quote unquote whipping.
Was that not divisive misinformation?
Yeah.
It seems like 100% divisive misinformation, but it can only go one way, which we'll get to kind of later in the show. We're talking about the teams and what we're up against and how it's not necessarily one thing. It's just if your brain's poisoned or if it's not.
And then it's like this boogeyman too, like Facebook is causing all this division. Look at this. These are echo chambers, and you're not even looking at any of the real world stuff that caused that Facebook reaction. It's like your ability to post something. It's like, no, how about the border being wide open and like people being legitimately pissed at that?
Yeah.
Like we have no right to post or like to even talk about it. Talk about lockdowns.
Exactly. Sorry. They're just doing their best to like astroturf and create this like fake consensus that Facebook needs to be clamped down on. But they have resources. I'm sure there will be something coming up soon where they will have a alleged direct correlation from like Facebook misinformation to like someone dead or a crime or a shooting or something horrible. And then they're going to be like, see, this is why we need it.
But either way, I ain't never seen no Project Veritas whistleblower get a full 60 minutes interview.
Yeah, exactly.
So
speaking of teams and divisiveness and us versus them, Justin Trudeau, who, by the way, everyone knows this. He is like, if you were going to have a draft of Muppets,
yeah,
he's like a top 3 pick.
He's willing to do anything.
He's the guy. He's fully the guy. So the other day he tweeted, he said, lighting candles to honor Indigenous women, girls, and our 2SLGBTQQIA plus community.
What is 2SL? What is that?
What is 2 Qs? QQ.
Jeez.
There's 2 Qs in there. And then the plus, I'm not going to get into conspiracy corner again. This is just true. The plus is a soft P. it's a pl, it's a p, and that soft P will eventually, the plus will include P for pedophiles.
Yeah.
And that's not a conspiracy theory. That's a conspiracy reality.
I mean, there are
It's a
authors.
soft P. The plus is a soft P.
People who have written about it, like legitimate, like news reporters have written, like why pedophilia has such a stigma. It's like clearly they're going somewhere with this.
That's the goal. That's the goal, is to make people stand for nothing to the point where you're going to have some 2SLGBTQQIA plus person, the gay alphabet circus. They're going to come for your child, and you're going to be like, hey, come sit on my lap. And then you're just going to watch it happen and go, yeah, okay.
That's fine.
This is fine. This is good. And then that's it. And that's what the goal is. The goal is to come for the kids. And obviously the way they do it is very strategic. So Justin Trudeau tweets, lighting the candles for women, girls, and our 2SLGBTQ whatever. But it's like you sneak in women and girls. So it's like to go against that group, you're going against women and girls. So they're using women and children
lead blockers
to lead block.
Yeah.
And then the people who are asleep or on autopilot or just generally weak or addicted to pornography, whatever it may be, you just let that one slide. And you're like, oh, I'm not going to take a stand for that. Women and girls are involved. And you're going to take like a fake high road there.
No uterus, no opinion.
Exactly. I'm just here to listen. I'm a guy. I don't, it's not my problem. I'm here to listen. You know,
I'm here to learn.
I'm not here to listen. Some people need to be told what to do.
Yeah.
Or some people need to hear opinions and then decide what's actually the rational, correct thing to do. The mistake would be to shut down one side, and that's what's happening. And they create these victim classes, and this plays out into the overall bigger culture war, whatever you want to call it. And people think it's like left versus right, liberal versus Republican, Democrat, Republican, whatever. It really is the globalists, and it's like kind of us against China. So it's like us, it's like a patriotic Americans against China, Nike, the NFL, LeBron James, Miley Cyrus,
Lil Nas X,
our education system, big tech. So it's not necessarily like a traditional war you'd think where it's like us shooting people in a field and it's us against China, but it's like this war of information. It's the censorship, it's the COVID, and it's just like they'll get your allegiance one way or another. And it's basically at every turn you're faced with a decision. It's like, all right, my kid has to go to school and wear a mask. It's like, all right, if you're fine with that, then it's like, okay, now someone has to my kid has to get a vaccine. Okay, you're done. You're toast. But it's like if you reject the kids in masks and you reject the vaccine and you don't watch the NFL if they kneel and you do all these little things, then you can kind of win the war and create a community with the same like foundation and roots and all that stuff. That's kind of what we need to do.
Yep.
Because otherwise we're going up against these people with these resources and we're looking at it in traditional ways and it's not. It's like the people who are brain poisoned versus the people who are not. And you can't really give in even in the small instances, because when you do, then it's already toast. They have their ways in anyway.
Yep.
They're going to indoctrinate you. They're going to force you to get vaccinated. They're going to make you wear a mask. And it's like they'll threaten to fire you. So it's happening at every single turn.
Yeah. My thing, too, going back to the long Trudeau 2SL, whatever, two-door sedan, lesbian, gay. They already had the plus. It was LGBTQ plus. So it was like anybody who feels they fit into that, like, okay, we got you, plus. Instead, they made it a, 14-letter acronym.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
And it's just this fake virtue signal call to all other Muppets. Hey, are you for supporting women and girls and the trans people that kind of get a hard time? Have you ever seen a trans person get a hard time?
No.
Everyone's like, oh, transphobia. So it's like, what's transphobia? The guy at Sonic who had the drive-through lady come through and he kind of had an incident.
To me, I'm a male. Okay?
Okay.
So, what are you? So I can call you a sir or ma'am. What are you?
What would you assume looking at me?
What are you?
What would you assume looking at me?
I assume that you're a man. Okay?
The only time I've ever seen trans people get attacked in real life, I've probably seen it happen like 3 times.
Really?
And it was all in downtown LA. and it was all black trans women getting attacked by black men.
Really?
Yeah. Because they were, I don't know.
I mean, I've heard that too.
And it was in sketchy parts of downtown LA. That's where I used to live. So it's like you'd see like a black trans woman with like a bikini on, like on drugs, getting like chased by some guy. I saw a lady get pushed out of her car. Vay's car.
A lady.
I don't know what to say. But like, you know, so it's like all the trans.
A lady
all the
with
negative,
broad shoulders.
Yeah. A lady who runs a 4.8.
And a thick Adam's apple.
Yeah. And a 40-inch vertical. So it's like every single instance I've seen is not the ones you think, where it's like some guy in a truck, like, get out of here, freak. Like that doesn't happen. Exactly. Like you come into like a Cracker Barrel and you're a trans person, you might get some looks from the old people that don't know what's going on, but it's just like in the same way I look at them. It's not like I'm looking at you like, oh, what are you doing? I kind of look at you just to see what you're up to.
There's an extra moment where you're like, what is that? Okay.
All right. Like, what's going on here? Like, all right, we got a guy with lipstick and a beard.
He's got a dress. He's not even trying that hard.
Dress. And then, okay, hairy forearms. Wow. He's on a date with this. It's like, I'm allowed to look and explore.
I can look.
I do whatever I want.
Exactly.
I look at everybody. Oh, there's an old lady over there. They had a nice dinner. They're here at 4:00. They're probably here for the early bird. They probably come every day. There's a waitress over there. She looks nice. Blah blah blah. Talking. It's like I look at every single person, every situation.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to gloss over, especially when it comes to like people watching in action. That's the best action.
Yeah.
It's like, there's an old lady. There's a waiter. There's the manager. Oh, we got a guy in a dress with lipstick who's going by some weird name.
Let me go call him sir.
Yeah.
Point blank.
Let's go over there and ruin his meal. No, I'm just observing like anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what equality would look like. But they don't want equality. They want more. They want to become the oppressors. And then it's going to be soon, oh, you misgendered me. That's a hate crime. And they're going to try and put me in jail.
Already happening in Canada, right? Like, and the same way, it's like not a mandate or a force or whatever. I read a headline the other day that some small business had to pay a $30,000 fine to some like Canadian tribunal because they misgendered someone, and then they have to pay their staff to take sensitivity training or something. Did you expect everyone to be 100 out of 100 today on calling you ma'am and saying, oh, you look lovely today? It's like, nah, some people are going to slip up.
You don't
because you're not a...
Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. And also, you don't get to tell me what to do. I don't have to listen to anybody, but there's people who don't think they're a lady when they're a guy who contact me or whatever. And I don't do anything back. Now it's all through the lens of it's because I'm trans. So it's like they want to give them the power, as Frank from Quite Frankly put it in the Pride video like 3 years ago. Instead of removing the hate and taking the whip away, they want to take it from one hand to the other. So now it's like, oh, you called me he and I'm a she, even though you're a he.
Yeah.
And it's like, now that's a hate crime and you're in trouble. And it's like, now that trans person's the police and that person's in charge. That person has power over the everyday other person.
Watch Canada. That's all.
Watch Canada. And then in the same way that they're giving power out, but instead of trans, 2SLGBTQIA plus soft P, now like apply it with COVID. And it's like, now go to Australia. So it's like the same lesson and the same power grab and the same dynamic of like who's on top and who's on bottom, who's censored, who's promoted. Like the same team plays out. But now, for example, with COVID in Australia, we're seeing it with like I don't know how their government works. Their ministers, I'll just call them.
Yeah, the prime minister. Make sure you're negative.
Make sure your test is negative. So like that lady now is like saying we're going to be locked down until there's 0 cases. And it's like, what? 0 cases of the virus? That's not even that bad? Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
I would never obviously say women shouldn't be involved in politics, but that woman should not be involved in politics.
That particular one.
That single woman should not be involved in pretty much anything.
Oh, but she had a baby while she was the prime minister.
And she just wants to keep everyone safe. And it's like, well, what does safe mean to you? And it's like, no COVID at all. Wow. What an ambitious goal.
Yeah, there you go. I thought she gave up on the 0 case goal.
Well, I think she did because she was like, well, now 0 cases is like
seems
too
impossible.
hard to, yeah, seems impossible. It's like, and then what? How many false negatives are there? 0 cases? It's like you're locking down everybody for like this impossible thing. And it's not even like it's the plague or something actually serious. 0 cases. But that's the same thing. It's like that person, Australia, is where like the deep state and the globalists try out what they're going to do ideally in America.
Yeah.
So they just kind of like run like a beta test. Australia is a beta test of like the global medical tyranny takeover.
Yeah, and we actually have a strong constitution and like actual rights, and whereas some of these other places that kind of just got let go by the British, kingdom or whatever, it's like Australia was established with not being a free country in mind. So it's like everything
didn't matter,
Yeah.
guns, who can take the guns, whatever. And now it matters.
Yeah.
And if it was always going to matter, this was the plan.
Stay in quarantine till you're negative.
Can you imagine? And it's just no. And you can't say no. Well, they're going to say no, and it's going to get ugly over there as
Yep.
it should.
Yeah. I'm kind of starting to realize this now. The left is they generally have like one person for each issue that's like their demigod of the moment. And now it's our Ruth Bader Ginsburg for abortion. And it's like George Floyd for police brutality. It's Dr. Fauci for COVID. Like they have to elevate someone.
Like Australia is a rook in the chess game.
Yeah.
And then like BLM and Antifa, they're pawns.
Yep.
Dr. Fauci is the castle. Is a rook and castle the same thing?
I think so.
What's the horse? Dr. Fauci's the horse. Xi Jinping's the queen.
Knight? Horses?
Like that's what's going on here. Like those are the pieces and that's the game. And it's just like everyone against us. Like Twitter is a piece.
Yeah, big tech as a whole is
Big
one.
tech. Keith Olbermann's a pawn. It's all power and control. Same with the COVID stuff. Same with the COVID enforcers. You see that video of the kids wearing the mask and the teachers
Singing
this is why we make them. This is why we wear our masks. Wear our masks. Wear our masks.
I wear a mask to school. I wear a mask to school. Hi ho the Dario. I wear a mask to school. It helps to keep me safe. It helps to keep me safe.
They posted that online.
That was
and it's
terrible.
like, aren't you embarrassed? Aren't you like, like if you had made the kids wear masks and it was a real pandemic where people were actually dying, it would be like so sad. And it would be like, just please wear it, Tommy. Like I can't even explain what's going on.
School wouldn't be happening. It would be over
in person.
Yeah.
But instead it's like, I'm not going to say this because it probably gets booted off of everything,
Mm-hmm.
but the line would have been something along the lines of, you're making the kids wear a cloth mask that doesn't do anything for the pandemic, that doesn't kill them, and they can't spread. What are we doing here? It would be something along those lines.
It would sound a lot like that. It would rhyme almost.
It would sound a lot like that.
Yeah.
If I was getting into horse racing, my horse would be called, why are you masking the kids with masks that don't work to prevent a virus they can't catch or spread? That would be my horse's name.
And
Fair?
you should make it an acronym, and it would be smaller than the LGBTQSL,
It would
the
be
two-door
easier.
sedan. Yeah.
It would be easier. But that's what it is. It's like, you're not doing this for the good reasons. You're doing this to feel empowered. And then you post it online to be like, look what my little minions are doing. They're listening to me. Well, that's like a good time to take a break in the action from the show and do a quick friend test. Our friend of the show, Kyle Kashev, told me he'd check out the podcast. So, Kyle, this message is for you. If you indeed did check out the podcast, DM me the word meatball, and I'll know you watched at least halfway through. No one tell Kyle. No one give him any tips or hints, please. Kyle, you have 48 hours.
This is a strong message.
This is a strong message.
Whoa! This is a strong message!
All right, back to the action. We're talking about COVID stuff. I saw this video online. It was of Christian Walker calling his administrators at school, at the college he goes to, at the college he pays $70,000 a year to go to.
Disgusting.
All the classes are now online, and they're still giving him a hard time and telling him he has to get vaccinated. So he has to get vaccinated so he can go take classes online for the college he's spending $70,000 a year on.
Ouch.
Can you imagine what we could YOLO into with $70K?
Yeah. Every meme stock I want.
Do you know how many shares of Any and SafeMoon and all these stupid things we like?
Altcoins, just
Every stupid
shit
altcoin,
coins.
Ethereum. We
Mhm.
just hold it. $70K. And it's like, that's what I'm kind of realizing now. It's like, college obviously is useless. Anything you actually want to learn, you can YouTube or learn in a different way. So it's just like the end of a dying, non-functional institution. that got taken over by the bad guys. It used to be you have to go to college, to get a job, and everyone graduates and gets a job. Now it's impossible because the bad guys, let's just call them bad guys, the globalists, China, whoever's on the other team. Now the bad guys took over, and it's like basically collapsing underneath itself, and it's a scam. They ran the price up. They backed it up by the government, big, huge mistake. And now they have like this dying machine. It's not sustainable. Like they can't keep something like that going because it is meant to scam you. It's meant to put you in debt. Imagine $70K a year. Like even if you had $70K for 4 years and you're like, hey, parents, instead of going to college, I'm going to invest this $70K.
Yeah, that's one rental property a year for 4 years.
Yeah.
Or
you
something
have
like
you have enough of a business in 4 years that they give you half what they would have spent on education to kind of set yourself up with passive income, at least for like years and years, forever. And that is not what's promoted. Now they just put you in that scam system. You go into debt, and then they also indoctrinate you while you're there.
Yeah.
And then you come out and you're a pawn, and it's just like, that's just what the bad guys are up to.
Yeah.
So I feel for Christian Walker, it's a tough situation. I would not obviously personally get the vaccine. I'm not employed by anyone or going anywhere that requires it. Neither is Richard Ratboy.
Smart. Yep. Come pin me. See if you can stick that needle in.
That kind of scares me too, because I wonder if they're doing the leap to online classes, you need the vaccine. Then once that goes through and the young college kids do it, then it's going to be like social media.
You need the vaccine to tweet.
You need the vaccine to go on Twitter. You need the vaccine to use Amazon. It's not out of the question, because you might say, oh, that makes no sense. Business-wise, you eliminate so much of your audience, so much of your customers, but we've seen them countless times go against that exact principle of like looking out for your customers first. The NFL did it with the kneeling. Remember, NFL is gay, the NFL is bi, NFL is trans.
Yep.
They did it with that. They made the girl play football for Vanderbilt last year. Like they're willing to have their corporations and their pillars in society that people like have them go jump on the sword and destroy themselves for this fake better good. So don't count it out. And then when that day comes, we're going to kind of really see who's anti-COVID vaccine and who's not. When it's like,
we'll see who still needs that Amazon delivery.
Yeah. Ooh. Uber Eats.
I hope it doesn't get to that point. But
if they say Uber Eats, you need a vaccine, I'm toast.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
I just won't order Uber Eats ever again. I'll learn how to make Thai curry myself.
But yeah, even if they ever were to do a vaccine internet type thing, it's like Americans don't deal with that shit. Like you already see it in New York, de Blasio protests and stuff like that. Like you can't keep getting away with it. You can't take too much ground too quickly. Otherwise, there's going to be some chaos.
Exactly. And I think that they know that. And this is just like the full court press. Get everyone vaccinated who's even on the fence. So then it's clearly the us versus them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, get vaccinated or else you're going to lose your job. It's a mandate. And then maybe the deadline comes and, all right, out of the 500 employees, 275 didn't get vaccinated. They're not going to fire those people. They might just be like, all right, testing exemption, wear a mask, whatever. So it kind of is a bluff, I think, because legally, I don't think they don't have it on their side. So they're just kind of doing this as like a bluff and trying to get anyone who's like, oh, I don't want to get fired, I'll just get vaxxed, who doesn't care, to get the vaccine. The same people who are ignoring women and children and 2SLGBT, like they're trying to get the middle sleeping people vaccinated. Got to get vaccinated to go to the online classes. Like, it's like, are you sure this isn't some sort of satanic initiation ritual? Feels really a lot like that. Obviously, it's not going to work on us. Let's move on to a little bit more of a lighthearted topic. We're getting some Jerry updates. Jerry's neutering is scheduled for this weekend, October 9th.
I keep telling Fleckus, push it off. Let's wait until he's won. I want to see him grow. I want to see this little man get some testosterone. And he got bodied at the dog park today.
He got bodied at the dog park today by a dingo-looking dog.
Yeah, a little half dingo boy.
And the guy was going, no. And it's like, dude, he doesn't know. That tone doesn't really register with the dog.
Yeah,
no.
You're going to have to step in, bro.
No, please. And it took some stepping in and body positioning. The dog wouldn't fuck with me.
Yeah.
I've become unpinnable. So, yeah, he hasn't given us any problems. He hasn't I haven't had any situations lately where I'm like, ooh, he needs to chill out. But I don't know. People have told me some disgusting stories of why you should do it. I'm
What-
not going to
what
get
did-
into it.
What did they
It's
tell you?
disgusting. But like, not doing it ruined my tile floor, and cleaning the tile floor just it destroyed the tile and broke, and all these horrible things. So we'll think about it. It's coming up soon.
So one thing that I think is funny that we should talk about is how we go to the dog hospital and the guy's like, "Oh, is this your baby? Oh, is this your baby?" And so
I just make like this face like,
no, it's a
don't
dog.
talk to him
He's
like
my
that.
dog. I bought him. But those are all the same kind of people, like these dog owners who think their dog is like vegetarian. They think he's making human decisions. You see that video?
Of course.
And it's like, all right, I'm going to give him a bowl of meat and I'm going to give him the lettuce, the salad that he usually eats. And the dog just wolfs down pure meat.
Yeah, every single time. There's one lady I saw online. I think we have a video of it. We'll play the clip. It's my absolute favorite. She thinks she's talking to the dog. So she has like this setup where there's 30 buttons on the floor, and she'll press one that's like, go park now. And then the dog just like walks across the platform and hits 4 buttons. And no matter what, she concludes the dog's trying to talk to her. The lady's absolutely bonkers.
Do you feel concerned? Are you all done concerned now? Yeah, you had some big feelings about outside.
Concerned is one of the words.
Concerned is the word. Are you done being concerned was the question.
Ugh. She has like, ugh.
The dog said ugh and outside. It picked 2 buttons randomly out of the 30 buttons on the floor. And the lady's like, yep, outside is where you had the concerning feelings. Like, you're nuts, lady.
Yeah.
You're absolutely bananas.
The dog knows one button gives him a treat. One button gives him a walk.
And any sort of touching of the buttons gives him like a positive reinforcement.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
She's waiting there smiling. What is it, boy?
Don't worry about the stained carpets. We got the deposit back in the house.
There's like 50, 60 buttons. She thinks this dog is remembering like words like, alongside or, you know.
And they're all labeled with like letters, like they're all the words on it. So it's like, there's no reference point. It's not like it's a picture of like a treat or a bone or like, it's just pure words. I would have a hard time with this.
Maybe you could get a walk button or like a food.
Yeah.
But the dogs are just hammering that button all day.
Food. Yeah. And he doesn't know food means the food. It just knows like food. Hit the button and goes, "Woo." Like it hears, "Woo." And then it knows, oh, that's what the treats come. Like, there's no connection. But this lady has like convinced herself, and I'm not making fun of anybody. I like passionate people. But this lady's convinced herself that she's communicating with the dog, and it's bad. It's like when people talk to like a psychic and they're like, oh, I'm getting a R name. And it's like, Ray, my great grandfather. And it's like,
that was it.
Yeah. So it's like that, where now like she's in this spiral that's never going to end with like, yeah, this lady's got a thing with her dog who can talk. It's going to end with like you getting roasted on the Fuck Us Talks podcast.
And shaking in a psychiatric ward or something. But
when that dog dies,
well,
that lady's,
she's like, oh, he always had so much to say.
And the buttons will malfunction and talk in the middle of the night, and she'll be like, it's the dog saying perhaps to me.
But they had one clip of the dog who goes like, Mom, Grandpa, Dad. And then like just 3 nouns back to back. And it's like, what do you want? Spooky?
Yeah.
You calling a family meeting?
Yeah. Do you want us all to come in here? What is it?
Yeah.
Mikey, rain, park. Is it going to rain at the park today? It's like, you're reading the future now? This dog's clairvoyant. We got to go to the park. It's going to rain.
What does he know? They had that chimpanzee that they were doing the same thing with, like pressing buttons or, he had sign language.
And they were blown away by what he did.
Yeah. And it's Nim Chimpsky. I'm looking on the Wikipedia page.
Chimpsky.
On the Wikipedia page right now. And his longest recorded quotation.
Best, most celebrated sentence.
And this is like what a scientist had to write down. Like some lab coat lady.
This was their big breakthrough.
Nim's longest sentence was the 16-word long. Give orange, me. Give, eat, orange, me. Eat, orange, give me. Eat, orange, give me, you.
Relatable.
So I think he wanted an orange.
Yeah, he knew that some combination of these buttons gave him fruit. That was probably his main concern. But I mean, if that blew everyone away and probably cost like millions of dollars of study funds,
Federal grants.
yeah, imagine this lady's got something. Grandma Park, go rain. Happy?
What happened to Grandma at the park?
It's like, is Grandma not happy because of the rain?
What
It's
did you
like,
see?
I don't know, lady. Look up projections. See if that helps. Or if Jerry had the buttons, it would be Uber Eats. Uber Eats is here again. Uber Eats at the door. There's an Uber Eats at the door again. Uber Eats is here. Uber Eats. That's what it would be. I wish this show could be. One day we'll get sponsored by Uber Eats, maybe.
No. Last I saw, they were raising money for Afghan refugee resettlement. So,
what do you think we're more likely to get required to get vaccinated to have Uber Eats, or Uber Eats eventually becoming a podcast sponsor?
I think the vaccine's probably more likely.
That's pretty good. That's a good place to be. Also, I obviously don't think the vaccine is some sort of Bill Gates termination thing, depopulate, kill everyone, kill 90% of the planet. But I will say, if those were stock options, they would not be trading at zero.
Yep.
And I would buy those.
There would be bids. There would be bids in the market.
I would buy those for cheap, and they probably will go up. So yeah, with Jerry, it'll be a game time decision if he gets neutered or not. It'll basically be if he does something very bad in the next 24 hours, he is. And if he's well-behaved, good little listener boy, he can live to see another day. That pretty much wraps it up, I would say.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching, listening.
Covered a range of topics today.
Lots of good action. Please like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. 5-star reviews, always important, and it keeps the show alive. Share it with a friend. Download on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go to shopbuckets.com for the best merch in the game. We have Trader Joe's. Come on. The Clintons, Arrest Cuomo. All the shirts are still fire and under $20 if you use code Jerry. Shopbuckets.com. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you at the next one.